Hey everybody, this is your instructor Ann Teed, and we're entering week 7 of our course, and I have a big notepad here of all my notes and all kinds of things I've been gathering together for this little tiny video of getting us all on the same page. This is an online class, so I try very hard to get everybody in the groove together, but many questions come up. So if you feel confused at all, I really appreciate when you speak up and say, well, that wasn't clear or whatever, because an online whole body of information being delivered in that via the internet with blogs and this and that can be very confusing and very written form. And as human beings, sometimes we need the intonation of somebody explaining or visuals. So please feel free all the time to ask questions. And if you ever want a video conference or FaceTime me or whatever, I am available. So first of all, I want to tell you that I've been really fine-tooth combing all that you've been doing. Your jars, your inspiration jars, the boxes, the teacher box, they were just so wonderful, and I love the comments that you made for each other. That was an extra thing, but they were great. I did send you some feedback on them when I added it right into the postings, but I was very inspired by what you came up with. And if you haven't taken time to look at everybody's, go back. I think that was week 4. Go back and get some inspiration, take some pictures, do some screenshots of it. Some really wonderful teacher tools came out of your creations, your inspiration of the concept of this jar. So that was one thing. Another thing is your different replies in your post to the Davis assignment, as well as the other posts. I made notes on your comments, so I know for the future if it was worthy of your attention, and everybody seemed to enjoy and get out of those different posts what we needed to gather from those two as well. Let's see, there was a post last week in your assignments about going to a sculpture or a museum or on campus. There's lots of artwork, and somebody brought up that there wasn't a place to post, and I actually eliminated that, so there wasn't that you had to photograph and make comments. I thought you had enough to do, and I removed that, so I just had added on about putting it in your teacher journal. This teacher journal, really, I can't emphasize how important it is for when you're going student teaching or years down the line, that this is your collective. This is, when I was a kid, there was a TV show, Felix the Cat, and he opened his magic bag and all kinds of things. That's this teacher journal. You should be adding things, sketching, photographing, printing out some Pinterest images, whatever. Sticking in student scribbles and whatever this is, and it can get really thick. You can be a binder, or you can end up scanning and making it digital form too, but it is your resource. So please keep that in mind, because you may show it up at your teacher interview for student teaching with it, or bring it with you to teaching, and it should be very helpful. So I have found that out through all the years, that those kind of gatherings and teacher resource books are really important. So also I see that everybody signed up for your Philosophers, your first philosopher and then your secondary supportive one. Thank you for that. There were some questions about what was due this past weekend with the draft. It wasn't a draft for your written teacher philosophy. That's pretty basic, like a written philosophy of what you believe, and you do incorporate that in your teaching portfolio when you're applying for a job. They want to know who you are as a teacher, and that's what we've been watching all these videos and reading articles of people who tell us about what they think teaching is about, what's important about it. So the written format, I want it to be meaningful, authentic of who you are as an educator and as a thinker, a creator. But that written form was not what I needed you to do a draft of. That you're going to be working on. But the proposal, the sketching out of your idea is for the second part of the assignment, where you're doing a response piece of artwork. Could be slam poetry, could be a video. How did you move from the articles, the two philosophers, picking one, or actually it could be more than one, but follow the directions, get inspired, and you should have all submitted. I think there was one or two people who had asked for an extension, and that's absolutely fine. When you need extensions, please ask, because I'd rather you be at your best and have the time and the focus, and I'm very, very willing to give you extensions. You're all adults, you're at the master's level, so when things are getting tight around the collar, and make sure that you communicate with me so I can give you that extra time. The Accordion Books, really, really wonderful. They were a simple assignment, and some of you took it a little bit more involved, more intricate. And if you get a chance, go back to them and view the whole showcase of them. I forget which week they are, but they were also wonderful, and I'm really proud of all the work that everybody's putting out. And I want to talk about the actual deadline for this midterm. I believe that I posted, I have two courses running at the same time, that they were due October 27th, which is in a couple Sundays. I find that at this point for the midterm, that time together, since this is an online class, I would rather that you take the time to do part 3 of your midterm, videotape or do a slideshow of your midterm, and I will put up a spot for the postings, and you can, I'll give directions about it, but we're not going to have an online Google Hangout for that. I want to reserve that Google Hangout for a real hardcore how to write lesson plans and clean them up, because it is the stumbling ground for teachers who are even out at the field that have been out there, that a new principal wants it a new way. It's always evolving and changing. They've gotten really crazy and massive of how much information, and I want to spend a Google Hangout really talking about lesson planning and kind of going backwards and forwards and really talking as a group and finding out where you all are and assisting you in how do you approach it, and even in all these different disciplines. So our Google Hangout is going to be from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. November 3rd. So that is our next Google Hangout. I will put all this in an email, and I also will give you more clarity on how to make that video and post for your midterm. So there won't be a group share for that, but on the 27th, instead of actually having a Google Hangout on that date, you will be posting and you will be required to view everybody's work, and it's going to be pretty extensive, that you are going to critique each other. And I will give you those outlines too of how many critiques will be happening. I want to really see what comes out, but your focus will be creating your video, which will have you talking about your philosophy and also your process of your project, your art response. So again, I'll put this all in writing, and I will embed it in our Google, in our Moodle, Google and Moodle. So if you have questions, please ask. This week we have 2 more. I'm going to be opening the Moodle up for this week, and there are 2 more philosophers to be inspired by. If you'd like to take one of those and incorporate it and switch something out, flexible. So please take a look at them. If you want to switch gears, you have that time, because technically your midterm is not due until October 27th, where you will post it all, And then on the November 3rd will be a whole new thing about moving forward with lesson planning and curriculum, which will be your final project. All right, be well. Any questions that come up, I think that's it with my how-to list. Again, if you want to go back to look at those jars again or the accordion books, it's worth the revisit. So take care and enjoy this week's Moodle. I'll be in touch. Bye.